There is a force inside you that is greater than any challenge, any setback, and any obstacle you may face. That force is your ability to choose how you think. The world can throw storms at you, but you have the power to decide whether you will be crushed by the weight of negativity or lifted by the strength of positivity. The truth is, your thoughts shape your reality. They determine how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you see your future. If you choose to live with a positive mindset, you will notice doors opening where walls once stood. You will find opportunities in setbacks, lessons in failures, and hope in despair. Positive thinking is not about pretending that pain doesn't exist or that struggles aren't real. It's not about blind optimism where you cover your eyes and ignore the truth. It is about facing reality with courage, with faith, with the determination to rise no matter how many times you fall. It is about looking at the same situation as everyone else, but finding a way to see possibility instead of limitation, progress instead of defeat, growth instead of stagnation. When you train your mind to focus on the positive, you don't eliminate problems, but you empower yourself to solve them with clarity, energy, and hope. Think about this: two people can go through the exact same challenge: losing a job, failing an exam, experiencing heartbreak. One person allows negativity to take over. They say, "This is the end, I'm worthless, nothing good ever happens to me," and they spiral downward into fear and despair. Another person in that exact same moment chooses to think differently. They say, "This is painful, this hurts, but maybe this is a chance to grow. Maybe this setback is setting me up for something greater. Maybe I needed this to redirect my life towards something better." Both people faced the same challenge, but one crumbled while the other rose higher. The difference was not the event, it was the mindset. This is the power of positive thinking. It transforms obstacles into stepping stones. It transforms failures into lessons. It transforms endings into new beginnings. When you look back at the most difficult moments of your life, you'll realize that some of your greatest breakthroughs came from times when you chose to think positively in the face of adversity. Without positivity, you give up too soon, you stop trying, you stop believing. With positivity, you keep moving forward, and eventually that persistence creates miracles. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of negativity, weeds will grow and choke your potential. But if you plant seeds of positivity, thoughts of courage, gratitude, resilience, and love, you will create a garden that blooms with opportunity and hope. You cannot control every storm in life, but you can control how you water your garden, how you feed your mind, how you choose to think each day. The greatest victories are won in the mind before they are ever won in the world. History is filled with people who achieved the impossible because they believed in the power of a positive outlook. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Yet when asked about those failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is positive thinking. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet emerged without bitterness, choosing forgiveness and unity over hatred and revenge. That is positive thinking. Every great story of human triumph has one common thread: the refusal to allow negative thinking to define the outcome. But this isn't just about history or famous people. This is about you, your dreams, your battles, your future. The question is not whether life will challenge you. It will. The question is whether you will face those challenges with fear or with faith, with doubt or with determination, with negativity or with positivity. You already have the power inside you to shift your thinking. It begins with awareness. It begins with catching yourself when you fall into negative thoughts and replacing them with empowering ones. It begins with choosing to see opportunity in difficulty instead of difficulty in opportunity. You see, your mind will always believe what you feed it. If you feed it limitations, it will believe you're limited. If you feed it hope, it will believe you're capable. If you feed it fear, it will hold you back. But if you feed it positivity, it will drive you forward with unstoppable energy. Every day, you have the choice. Are you going to fill your mind with negativity from the news, from toxic people, from self-doubt? Or are you going to fill it with gratitude, inspiration, vision, and belief in yourself? The choice you make each day determines the life you live. Positivity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it feels hard. Your brain is wired to look for danger, to focus on problems, to highlight what's wrong. That's a survival mechanism. But if you train yourself daily to focus on what's right, to focus on what's possible, to focus on solutions instead of excuses, you rewire your brain to see opportunities everywhere. Over time, positivity becomes your natural state of mind. It becomes your lens for life. And when you see life through a positive lens, you don't just change your outlook, you change your outcomes. Think of it like this: negativity narrows your vision, positivity expands it. When you're negative, you only see problems and you feel stuck. When you're positive, you see possibilities and you feel empowered. A positive thinker walks into the same room as everyone else but notices things others overlook. They see potential, they see connections, they see solutions. That perspective creates success. Your future depends on the thoughts you choose today. Every great achievement begins in the mind before it becomes reality. If you want to live a life of success, joy, and fulfillment, start by mastering your thoughts. Start by choosing positivity, because once you master your mind, you master your life. Life is not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. Positive thinking gives you the ability to take control of your response and therefore take control of your destiny. The truth is, every single day you wake up with two options. You can choose to focus on the problems, or you can choose to focus on the possibilities. And whichever one you choose will determine the direction of your day, your week, your year, and eventually your entire life. When you approach life with a positive mindset, you attract energy that lifts you higher. People want to be around you because positivity is magnetic. Opportunities find their way to you because people trust a positive spirit. You become a source of light in a world that often feels dark, and that light doesn't just brighten your path, it brightens the paths of those around you. But when you allow negativity to take over, you repel opportunities. You push people away. You become a prisoner of your own doubts. The difference between being someone who uplifts the world and someone who drags themselves through life lies in the thoughts you choose to nurture. Positive thinking is a choice, but it is also a discipline. It requires practice. You don't become a positive thinker overnight. Just like a muscle, it takes repetition, effort, and commitment. When negative thoughts flood your mind, and they will, you have to stand guard at the door of your mind and refuse to let them control you. You can acknowledge them, but you don't have to feed them. You replace them with better thoughts. For example, when you catch yourself saying, "I can't do this," replace it with, "I will find a way." When you say, "I'm not good enough," replace it with, "I am capable and I am growing every day." These shifts may seem small, but over time they rewire your brain, and those new patterns of thought become your default. Science proves what positive thinkers have always known. Your mindset affects your body, your energy, your health, and your success. Studies show that people with positive outlooks live longer, have stronger immune systems, and recover faster from illness. Why? Because your mind and body are connected. When you think positively, your body releases hormones that reduce stress and increase energy. When you think negatively, your body produces stress hormones that drain you, weaken your immune system, and damage your health over time. Positive thinking is not just a philosophy, it is a strategy for a healthier, stronger, longer life. But positivity goes beyond health. It directly impacts success. Imagine an athlete stepping onto the field already defeated in their mind. No matter how much talent they have, their negative mindset sabotages them. Now imagine the same athlete walking in with unshakable belief. Even if they face tough competition, their positive mindset fuels their performance. The same is true in business, in education, in relationships, in every area of life. When you expect good things, you put in the effort to achieve them. When you expect failure, you don't even try hard enough to win. Your beliefs create your reality. If you believe the world is against you, you will find evidence to support that belief. If you believe the world is filled with opportunity, you will also find evidence to support that belief. This is not magic, it is focus. What you focus on expands. Positive thinkers focus on solutions, so they see solutions. Negative thinkers focus on problems, so they see problems. The lens you look through determines the picture you see. Think about the people who inspire you. Are they negative? Rarely. They radiate confidence, hope, and belief. They make you feel like anything is possible because they truly believe it themselves. That is the power of positive thinking. It is contagious. When you walk into a room with a positive spirit, you lift the energy of the entire room. When you walk in with negativity, you drain it. You may not always realize it, but the energy you carry affects everyone around you. If you choose positivity, you not only transform your own life, but you also influence countless lives around you. Now, let's be honest. Positive thinking doesn't mean you will never face pain. It doesn't mean everything will go your way. It doesn't mean you won't get knocked down, betrayed, disappointed, or broken. Life will test you. Life will throw hardships your way. But positive thinking gives you the power to endure those hardships without losing yourself. It gives you the ability to say, "This situation is temporary. This pain will pass. I will grow stronger from this." Without positivity, you drown in despair. With positivity, you rise through it. Many people confuse positivity with denial. They think being positive means pretending everything is fine when it's not. That's not true positivity. Positivity is honesty plus hope. It's saying, yes, this situation is hard. Yes, I am struggling, but I believe there is a way forward. I believe I can overcome this. I believe something good can come out of this. That is the essence of positive thinking. It's not fake smiles, it's real belief. One of the greatest lessons positive thinking teaches us is gratitude. When you choose to see the good in life, you start to notice blessings you once overlooked. You realize that even in the middle of struggles, there are things to be thankful for: your health, your family, your friends, your opportunities, your breath, your second chances. Gratitude fuels positivity. The more you appreciate, the more reasons you find to appreciate. And gratitude shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith. If you want to train yourself in positive thinking, start with gratitude. Every morning, list 3 things you are thankful for. They don't have to be big. Sometimes the small things matter most. The sunlight, the sound of laughter, a meal, a kind word, the ability to try again today. Gratitude trains your mind to see good even when life feels hard. And when your mind sees good, your spirit feels strong. Positive thinking also teaches resilience. Life will knock you down. That's not a possibility, that's a certainty. But the question is, do you stay down or do you get back up? Positivity gives you the strength to rise again and again and again. It tells you that failure is not final, that defeat is not permanent, that your story isn't over. With every comeback, you prove to yourself that your spirit is stronger than your struggles. Positivity does not eliminate fear, but it teaches you how to move forward despite it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going in the presence of fear. A positive thinker says, yes, I'm afraid, but I will try anyway. Yes, I'm uncertain, but I believe it will work out. Yes, I don't have all the answers, but I trust the process. That kind of faith turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. If you want to transform your life, begin by transforming your thoughts. Replace self-doubt with self-belief. Replace complaints with gratitude. Replace fear with courage. Replace I can't with I will. Every time you shift a negative thought into a positive one, you take back control of your life. You rewrite your future. You build momentum. And eventually, those small choices create massive change. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, and positive thinking is the key to unlocking its potential. Once you train yourself to think positively, you will see life differently. You will see yourself differently. And once you see yourself differently, you will live differently. Positive thinking is like a compass. It guides you when life feels uncertain, when the path isn't clear, when everything around you feels heavy. Without it, you drift aimlessly, pulled in every direction by fear, doubt, and discouragement. With it, you walk with confidence, knowing that even if the path is long, even if the road is rocky, you are moving forward towards something better. Every single one of us has faced moments when negativity felt louder than hope. Maybe it was when you lost something you deeply cared about. Maybe it was when you faced rejection after giving your best. Maybe it was when people doubted you, criticized you, or laughed at your dreams. In those moments, your mind whispers, give up, it's over, it's not worth it. But here's the truth. Those whispers are lies. Negativity tries to shrink your vision. It tries to convince you that you are less than you are. And if you believe those lies, you settle for a life far smaller than the one you're capable of living. Positive thinking, on the other hand, pushes back. It says, this is not the end. I am stronger than this. I will rise. I will try again. I will not be defined by this moment. The greatest breakthroughs in life don't happen when everything is easy. They happen when life knocks you down, but you choose to stand back up with a stronger mindset. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is forged in fire, and champions are built in struggle. If you allow negativity to break you, you miss the opportunity to be refined into something greater. But if you face challenges with a positive outlook, you turn your struggles into your strength. Let me remind you, positive thinking is not magic. It does not instantly erase problems. What it does is empower you to handle problems in a way that moves you forward instead of holding you back. For example, when you face financial hardship, negativity tells you, I'll never get out of this. Positivity says, this is tough, but I can budget better, I can learn new skills, I can find opportunities to grow. When you face failure in school or in business, negativity says, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable. Positivity says, this is just one setback. Let me figure out what went wrong, let me improve, let me try again. It's not about ignoring the pain, it's about refusing to let the pain control the outcome. Think about people who inspire us with their resilience. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television, but she believed in herself and built one of the most influential media empires in the world. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity, yet he went on to create a kingdom of imagination that continues to inspire generations. J.K. Rowling faced rejection from publisher after publisher before her stories touched the hearts of millions. The common thread in all of these stories is not just talent, it is unshakable belief. It is the decision to think positively when the world gave them every reason to quit. Now let's bring this closer to your own life. How many times have you stopped yourself before you even started? How many dreams have you pushed aside because of negative thinking? Maybe you wanted to start a business but thought, what if I fail? Maybe you wanted to improve your health but thought, it's too late. Maybe you wanted to speak up, chase a goal, or take a risk but thought, people will laugh at me, I'm not good enough. Every single one of those thoughts is a prison built by negativity, and the only key that can unlock it is positive thinking. Imagine if you replace those thoughts. Instead of, what if I fail? Say, what if I succeed? Instead of, it's too late, say, it's never too late to begin again. Instead of, people will laugh at me, say, some will laugh, but others will be inspired. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I am growing, I am learning, I am becoming. Do you see how the shift changes everything? One thought pulls you backward, the other pushes you forward. One drains your energy, the other fuels it. One creates excuses, the other creates results. And here's something powerful: your brain doesn't just respond to your thoughts, it acts on them. When you think positively, your brain looks for solutions, takes action, and creates momentum. When you think negatively, your brain shuts down, avoids action, and creates paralysis. That's why the way you think literally shapes the way you live. Let's talk about the ripple effect. Your positivity doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone you touch. If you wake up in the morning with a mindset of gratitude, hope, and energy, you show up differently for your family, your colleagues, your friends. You encourage others, you inspire others, you remind them that it's possible to see the good even when life is hard. But if you wake up every day full of complaints, bitterness, and doubt, you pass that energy on too. You become a carrier of negativity, infecting others with hopelessness. Ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to spread in this world? The choice is always yours. Positive thinking also sharpens your vision. When you focus on solutions instead of problems, you see opportunities others miss. Have you noticed that the most successful people often started with very little? They weren't born with all the resources. They weren't handed everything, but they had vision. They believed in possibilities when others saw limitations. They trained their minds to look for what could be done instead of what couldn't. That's the power of a positive outlook. It creates innovation, creativity, and progress. I want you to think of a time in your life when you thought you couldn't do something, but you did it anyway. Maybe it was a test you passed, a challenge you overcame, or a risk you took. At first you doubted yourself, but then you decided to push forward. Looking back now, don't you realize that your breakthrough happened because, for a moment, you believed it was possible? That's the essence of positive thinking. It opens the door to possibility. And here's another truth. Positivity attracts resilience, and resilience attracts success. Life doesn't reward those who never fail, it rewards those who refuse to quit. Every time you keep going despite fear, despite rejection, despite pain, you increase your chances of breakthrough. A negative thinker quits too soon, but a positive thinker pushes until the victory comes. That persistence, fueled by positivity, is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. So ask yourself, what story are you writing with your thoughts right now? Are you writing a story of limitation, excuses, and defeat? Or are you writing a story of courage, hope, and triumph? Remember this, your thoughts today become your life tomorrow. If you want a better tomorrow, start by planting better thoughts today. Positive thinking is the seed. With patience, with effort, with faith, it will grow into a life you once thought impossible. One of the greatest truths about life is that it always reflects what you project. If you walk around expecting failure, expecting disappointment, expecting rejection, you'll find it. But if you walk into life expecting opportunity, expecting growth, expecting something good to come from even the hardest moments, you'll find that too. Your mind is a magnet. Whatever you hold in it, you attract into your life. That's why positive thinking isn't just a nice idea. It's a necessity for anyone who wants to rise above mediocrity and live a life of purpose. Think about this. Every invention, every breakthrough, every dream that turned into reality started first as a thought in someone's mind. The airplane existed in the mind of the Wright brothers long before it flew in the sky. The light bulb burned brightly in Edison's imagination long before it lit up the world. The idea of freedom lived in the hearts of leaders long before nations were transformed. And here's the key. None of these people would have pushed forward if they had surrendered to negative thinking. If they had said, "This is impossible. People will laugh at me. I can't do this." History would look very different. But they chose positivity. They chose to believe. And that belief changed everything. Now let's bring it back to you. What is the dream that you've been holding inside but have buried under layers of negativity? Maybe you want to start a business, but you've convinced yourself that you don't have enough money or resources. Maybe you want to go back to school, but you've told yourself it's too late. Maybe you want to improve your health, but you've been repeating the thought, "I'll never change." Those are not truths. They are limitations created by negative thinking. The moment you replace them with empowering beliefs, you give your dream the oxygen it needs to breathe again. Positive thinking doesn't mean the road will be easy. It means you'll have the strength to keep walking it until you get there. Here's what most people don't realize: negativity is exhausting. It drains your energy, your creativity, and your courage. Have you ever noticed how one negative thought can ruin an entire day? You wake up with a small problem, but then your mind says, "Nothing ever goes right. I can't handle this. Today is ruined." And suddenly your whole day feels heavy. That's the weight of negativity. But when you train your mind to respond positively, that same problem doesn't crush you. Instead, you say, "This is just one challenge. I can figure it out. Today can still be a good day." The situation hasn't changed, but your energy has. And that energy shapes how you move forward. Positive thinking is also about perspective. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One spends the entire time angry, frustrated, and stressed. The other uses the time to listen to a podcast, reflect, or simply practice patience. The traffic is the same, but the experience is completely different. Why? Because one chose negativity and the other chose positivity. Life will always present traffic, moments of delay, moments of waiting, moments of frustration. But your experience of life depends on how you choose to see those moments. A positive thinker finds peace where others find chaos. This mindset can transform relationships too. When you focus only on the flaws of the people around you, negativity grows. You criticize, complain, and build walls. But when you choose to see the good, when you focus on appreciation instead of irritation, relationships strengthen. Positive thinking allows you to forgive, to encourage, to believe in others when they don't believe in themselves. It allows you to become a source of love instead of conflict. And the truth is, when you spread positivity in your relationships, it always comes back to you multiplied. Positive thinking is also deeply connected to resilience. Life will not go according to plan. You will face delays, detours, and disappointments. The question is, will you let those moments break you, or will you use them to build you? Positivity gives you the strength to say, "This setback is a setup for a comeback." It helps you rise above circumstances that would crush a weaker spirit. Think about it. Every time you've survived something you thought you couldn't, it was your decision to hold on to hope that carried you through. Without that hope, without that positive belief, you would have given up. That's why resilience and positivity go hand in hand. There's also a scientific truth here. Psychologists talk about something called the broaden and build theory. It says that when you think positively, your mind broadens. You see more possibilities, more solutions, more opportunities. Over time, those positive experiences build your resources, your skills, and your strength. In other words, positivity doesn't just make you feel better. It makes you more capable. It literally builds a stronger you. Negativity, on the other hand, narrows your vision. It makes you blind to possibilities. It traps you in survival mode, where you can't grow, you can't innovate, and you can't thrive. So when you choose positivity, you're not just choosing happiness, you're choosing progress. Now, you might be wondering, how do I stay positive when life feels overwhelming? The answer is not to deny your pain. The answer is to acknowledge it, but refuse to live in it. When something goes wrong, give yourself permission to feel it. Cry if you need to, release the emotion, but then shift. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What can I do next? That simple shift turns pain into purpose. It transforms suffering into strength. And here's something even more powerful. Positivity is a daily decision. It's not something you decide once and never revisit. Every morning you wake up, you have to choose again. Will I focus on what's missing, or will I focus on what's possible? Will I complain, or will I be grateful? Will I doubt myself, or will I believe in myself? Those daily decisions compound over time. They shape your character. They shape your destiny. One positive choice today might not seem like much, but string together hundreds of positive choices, and you've changed the trajectory of your entire life. So I ask you, what would your life look like if you truly committed to positive thinking? How would your career change if you approached every challenge with the belief that you could figure it out? How would your relationships change if you chose to focus on gratitude instead of criticism? How would your confidence grow if you replaced every "I can't" with "I will"? Imagine the version of you that exists on the other side of positivity, the version of you that's unstoppable, resilient, hopeful, and unshakably strong. That version is not far away. It begins with the thoughts you choose right now. Because at the end of the day, life is not just about what happens to you. It's about the story you tell yourself about what happens. A negative thinker writes a story of defeat. A positive thinker writes a story of victory. And the pen is in your hands. You are the author of your story. What kind of story will you write? When you truly understand the power of positive thinking, you realize it is not just about changing your mood. It is about changing your entire life. Positivity is the foundation upon which confidence, resilience, success, and fulfillment are built. Without it, everything else crumbles. With it, everything else is possible. And the most beautiful part, positive thinking is available to everyone. It doesn't matter where you were born, what you've been through, how much money you have, or how much education you've received. The ability to think positively is a choice, and that choice is free. But why, if positivity is so powerful, do so many people live in negativity? The answer is simple: negativity is easier. It's easy to complain, easy to doubt, easy to fear, easy to give up. It requires no effort to think negatively because it aligns with the natural wiring of your brain, which is designed to detect danger. But positivity, that requires discipline, that requires effort. That requires you to fight back against your natural instincts and rewire your mind for growth. And that's why few master it, because it's not comfortable, at least not in the beginning. But just like going to the gym, the more you train your mind to think positively, the stronger it becomes, and eventually it feels natural. Think of it this way: when a seed is planted in the ground, it doesn't bloom overnight. It requires sunlight, water, and time. At first, nothing seems to be happening, but beneath the soil, roots are forming, foundations are being built. In the same way, when you start practicing positive thinking, you may not see instant results. It may feel awkward, forced, even fake. But as you continue to nurture it with gratitude, affirmations, and perseverance, the roots grow deeper. And one day, the seed breaks through the soil. The transformation becomes visible. That's when you realize every effort you made to think positively was worth it. One of the greatest benefits of positivity is clarity. When your mind is clouded with negativity, you can't see solutions clearly. Fear blocks your vision, doubt clouds your judgment, and worry drains your energy. But when you maintain a positive mindset, your thoughts become clearer. You think more creatively, you make better decisions, and you see opportunities that negativity would have blinded you to. Clarity is a superpower in a world full of confusion, and positivity gives you that gift. Another benefit of positive thinking is persistence. Negative thinkers quit easily because they convince themselves there's no point in trying. Positive thinkers keep going because they believe there is always hope, always a chance, always another way. That persistence is the difference between success and failure. Most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they give up too soon. Positivity is the fuel that keeps you moving when everything else in you says stop. Let's look at another truth. Positivity breeds confidence. When you constantly tell yourself, "I can't," you shrink your potential. But when you say, "I will," you step into courage. Confidence doesn't mean you're never afraid. It means you believe in your ability to figure things out. That belief comes from positive thinking. The moment you replace fear with faith, you unlock the confidence to take risks, to step into the unknown, to seize opportunities others run from. And life always rewards the bold. Now, let's talk about self-image. How you think about yourself determines how you show up in the world. If you think negatively about yourself, if you constantly say, "I'm not smart enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not talented enough," you carry that energy into everything you do. But when you think positively about yourself, when you affirm, "I am capable, I am growing, I am enough," you show up with confidence. You interact differently, you take action differently, and people respond to you differently. Positive thinking about yourself is not arrogance, it is self-respect. And without self-respect, you cannot achieve self-fulfillment. Positivity also changes how you experience failure. For the negative thinker, failure is the end. It's proof that they're not good enough. But for the positive thinker, Failure is feedback. It's a lesson, a stepping stone, a redirection. They don't see failure as a dead end. They see it as part of the journey. That simple shift transforms failure from something to be feared into something to be embraced. Because every failure, when viewed positively, carries a seed of growth that eventually leads to success. Here's something powerful: positivity makes you a leader. Think about it. People are naturally drawn to those who see the good, who believe in solutions, who radiate hope. Nobody wants to follow someone who complains, doubts, and fears. But people will follow someone who inspires, uplifts, and believes. You don't have to be the smartest or the most talented person in the room to be a leader. You simply have to be the most positive. Leadership is influence, and positivity is the purest form of influence. Positive thinking also gives you inner peace. Negativity keeps you restless, anxious, and dissatisfied. It keeps you chasing after happiness in external things that never truly satisfy. But positivity helps you find peace in the present. It teaches you that joy is not found in perfection, but in gratitude. That contentment is not found in having everything, but in appreciating what you have. When you learn to think positively, you learn to live peacefully, even in the middle of chaos. And perhaps one of the most beautiful gifts of positive thinking is hope. Hope is the belief that tomorrow can be better than today. Without hope, people give up. They stop trying, stop dreaming, stop living fully. But with hope, people endure, they persist, they rise. Hope is what carried survivors through wars, what carried visionaries through rejection, what carried dreamers through countless failures until success came. Hope is born from positivity. If you want to live a life that inspires, you must protect your hope. And the way you protect it is by thinking positively even when life tempts you to give up. So let me ask you, what story are you telling yourself right now? Is it a story of defeat where everything is against you? Or is it a story of possibility where even setbacks can lead to breakthroughs? Remember, your story is not written by circumstances. It's written by your mindset. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control what you choose to believe about what happens. That choice, again and again, is the difference between a life of mediocrity and a life of greatness. Never underestimate the ripple effect of your positivity. One smile, one encouraging word, one belief in someone else's potential can change the trajectory of their life. You may not even realize it, but your positivity could be the reason someone else keeps going. And that's why positivity isn't just about you. It's about the impact you leave on the world. Every day, you have the chance to be someone else's reason to believe. That's the legacy of a positive thinker. So, as you move forward, remember this: positive thinking is not just a mindset, it's a way of life. It's choosing faith over fear, gratitude over complaint, persistence over quitting, and hope over despair. It's a commitment to see the world not as it is, but as it could be. And once you make that commitment, your life will never be the same. The greatest battles you will ever face in life will not be with other people, or with the economy, or even with circumstances beyond your control. The greatest battles you will ever fight will be the battles in your own mind. Every day, thoughts enter your head that either build you up or tear you down, thoughts that either move you toward your destiny or drag you away from it. And the weapon you choose in these battles will determine whether you rise or whether you fall. That weapon is positivity. When a negative thought enters your mind, it spreads like a virus. It begins small, just a whisper of doubt, a flash of fear, a spark of insecurity. But if you don't confront it, it grows. It gathers strength. It convinces you that you are powerless, that your dream is impossible, that you are unworthy of success. Before you know it, one negative thought becomes 10, and 10 become 1,000, and suddenly you are paralyzed. But when you meet that negative thought with a positive one, you stop it in its tracks. You replace "I can't" with "I will." You replace "I'm not enough" with "I am growing." You replace "this is the end" with "this is just the beginning." That shift changes everything. It doesn't erase the challenge, but it gives you the strength to face it with courage instead of fear. Consider this: your mind is like a garden. Every thought is a seed. Negative thoughts are weeds. Positive thoughts are flowers. If you don't take control of your garden, weeds will grow naturally. But if you want a garden full of beauty, full of life, full of joy, you must intentionally plant flowers and pull the weeds. That means every day you must choose what seeds you are planting in your mind. If you choose positivity, your life becomes a garden that not only sustains you but also inspires others. Now, let's be clear. Positive thinking does not mean ignoring problems or pretending challenges don't exist. It means facing problems with the belief that they can be solved. It means looking at challenges not as walls but as doors, not as endings but as beginnings. Positive thinking doesn't deny reality, it redefines it. It asks, what can I do with what I have? How can I grow from this? How can I turn this pain into purpose? That mindset turns setbacks into setups for comebacks. History is full of men and women who proved the power of positivity. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. A negative thinker would have quit after the first few failures. But Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the language of positivity. That is the mindset that changed the world. Think of Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison. A negative thinker would have been consumed by bitterness. But Mandela chose positivity. He chose forgiveness. And when he was released, he became a leader who united a nation. Positivity does not just transform individuals, it transforms history. So how do you develop this kind of mindset? It begins with awareness. You must be aware of the thoughts you allow into your mind. Too often, we think unconsciously, letting negativity run wild without even noticing it. But the moment you stop and pay attention, you realize how many of your thoughts are unhelpful, how many are filled with fear or doubt. Once you are aware, you can challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought moving me forward or holding me back? Is it true, or is it just fear in disguise? If it doesn't serve you, replace it with something that does. That simple practice, repeated daily, rewires your brain over time. Gratitude is another powerful tool in cultivating positivity. When you focus on what you don't have, negativity takes over. But when you focus on what you do have, positivity flourishes. Gratitude shifts your attention from lack to abundance, from problems to blessings. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be big. It could be the sunlight on your face, a meal you enjoyed, or a conversation with a loved one. The act of noticing and appreciating the good rewires your brain to see more good. And the more good you see, the more good you attract. Surroundings also play a huge role. If you surround yourself with negative people who complain, criticize, and doubt, you will absorb their energy. But if you surround yourself with positive people who encourage, inspire, and uplift, you will rise with them. You cannot expect to maintain a positive mindset while living in a negative environment. Protect your circle, protect your energy, because your environment either fuels your positivity or poisons it. Another practice is affirmation. Words are powerful. The words you speak about yourself shape your identity. If you constantly say, "I'm unlucky, I'm broke, I'm worthless," you reinforce negativity. But if you affirm, "I am capable, I am resilient, I am worthy," you create a new belief system. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it feels natural. Positive affirmations are not about lying to yourself. They're about choosing which truths to emphasize. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you are on your way. And reminding yourself of that truth keeps you motivated. Now, let's talk about the link between positivity and health. Science has proven that positive thinking strengthens your immune system, reduces stress, and increases life expectancy. Negative thoughts, on the other hand, create chronic stress, which damages your body over time. This means positivity doesn't just change your mind, it changes your body. When you think positively, you literally create a healthier, stronger version of yourself. That's how powerful your thoughts are. And beyond health, positivity influences success. Employers want positive employees. Leaders want positive team members. Relationships thrive on positivity. Opportunities open to those who radiate optimism. People naturally gravitate toward positivity because it makes them feel better. If you are someone who lifts others up, doors will open that would remain closed to negativity. Let me share a simple truth. Life will always present reasons to be negative. Pain, loss, disappointment, rejection. These are part of the human experience. But if you wait for life to be perfect before you choose positivity, you will wait forever. The choice must come first. You must decide, no matter what happens, I will choose to see the good, I will choose to believe, I will choose to rise. That decision, repeated day after day, builds a resilience that no storm can break. And here's the secret: positivity is contagious. When you choose to think positively, you don't just change your own life, you change the lives of those around you. Your smile can lift someone's spirit. Your encouragement can reignite someone's hope. Your belief can remind someone else of their own strength. You may never know how far the ripple of your positivity reaches, but rest assured, it goes farther than you think. So ask yourself today, will you be the person who adds to the darkness, or will you be the light? Will you be the voice of fear, or will you be the voice of hope? Will you live as a victim of negativity or as a warrior of positivity? The choice is always yours, and every choice creates your destiny. When you begin to master the art of positive thinking, something remarkable happens. You start to attract into your life the very things you once thought were out of reach. It feels almost magical, but it's not magic. It's the natural law of cause and effect. What you think determines what you believe determines what you do, and what you do determines what you achieve. That cycle always begins with thought. And when those thoughts are positive, they set in motion a chain reaction that leads you towards success, fulfillment, and joy. Think of the great dreamers, the innovators, the achievers. They did not arrive at greatness by chance. They arrived there because they chose to think differently, to believe differently, to see the impossible as possible. When Steve Jobs looked at technology, he didn't see limitations. He saw possibilities. When Oprah Winfrey faced poverty and adversity, she didn't see herself as a victim. She saw herself as a future voice of influence. When Muhammad Ali declared, "I am the greatest," he was not yet the champion the world would come to know, but his positive belief carved the path for his destiny. Positive thinking precedes great achievement, always. But let us be clear, positivity without action is daydreaming. Positive thinking is not about sitting still, repeating nice words, and hoping life changes. It is about fueling your actions with belief, with hope, with determination. A negative thinker and a positive thinker may both have the same dream, but the difference lies in who takes action and who gives up. The positive thinker acts because they believe it's possible. The negative thinker quits because they assume it's not. That single difference decides the outcome of their lives. Another dimension of positive thinking is resilience. Life is not a straight road. It is full of twists, turns, detours, and delays. Negative thinkers see these as signs to stop. Positive thinkers see them as part of the journey. They understand that delays do not mean denial, that detours may lead to better destinations, and that struggles often create strength. Resilience is born when you refuse to let negativity define the meaning of your struggles. You choose instead to see every setback as training, every obstacle as preparation. Every challenge is a stepping stone. With positivity, even pain becomes purposeful. Think about how positivity impacts relationships. When you think negatively, you assume the worst in people, you become critical, defensive, and distant. But when you think positively, you assume the best, you forgive more easily, you encourage more often, and you build deeper connections. Relationships thrive on positivity because positivity creates trust, warmth, and appreciation. It allows you to see the humanity in others instead of focusing on their flaws. And when you bring positivity into your relationships, you not only transform yourself, you transform the lives of those around you. There's another important truth: positivity is not about ignoring the storms of life. It's about being the calm within the storm. Anyone can smile when the sun is shining, but the true test of positive thinking is whether you can hold hope when the clouds gather, when the rain falls, when the thunder roars. That is when positivity proves its power. When everything around you is chaos, positivity gives you the inner strength to say, "This too shall pass, I will endure, I will rise." That inner peace cannot be bought, cannot be faked, cannot be taken away. It is the gift of a mind trained in positivity. Your energy introduces you before you even speak. Walk into a room with negativity and people feel it. They withdraw. They mirror your doubts. They shrink away from your energy. Walk into a room with positivity and people feel that too. They are drawn to you. They want to be around you. They feel inspired by your presence. Your energy becomes your reputation, and your reputation becomes your influence. And influence is the currency of leadership. If you want to make an impact in this world, start with your mindset. A positive mind creates a positive presence, and a positive presence changes lives. Let's go deeper. Positive thinking doesn't just change your external outcomes, it transforms your identity. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of your destiny. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start asking, "How can this help me grow?" That simple shift turns you from powerless to powerful. And once you realize you are powerful, you live differently, you speak differently, you dream differently, you act differently. The world does not change first. Your thinking changes first, and then the world rearranges itself to match your belief. Remember this: positivity requires practice. Just as a muscle grows through consistent training, positivity grows through consistent use. You don't go to the gym once and expect to be strong forever. You don't think one positive thought and expect your life to change overnight. It is a daily practice, a lifelong discipline. And the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, until positivity is no longer something you do. It is who you are. And here's the profound truth: the power of positive thinking is limitless. There is no ceiling to how far it can take you, no boundary to how deeply it can transform you. It can heal wounds from the past, empower actions in the present, and create visions for the future. It can turn ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, and it can turn small beginnings into massive legacies. The only limit is the one you impose on yourself through negative thinking. So let me ask you, are you living small because your mind is trapped in negativity? Are you giving up on dreams because you've convinced yourself they are impossible? Are you letting fear write your story when faith is begging for the pen? If so, it's time to break free. It's time to choose positivity. Because the truth is, your life is waiting, your future is waiting, your greatness is waiting. And all of it begins with a single choice: to think positively. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a new mindset. Imagine seeing challenges not as threats but as opportunities. Imagine treating people with encouragement instead of criticism. Imagine looking in the mirror and believing, truly believing, that you are capable of greatness. That future is not a fantasy. It's possible. It's possible the moment you decide to change the way you think. And when you change the way you think, you change the way you live. You stop living reactively, letting circumstances control your emotions, and you start living proactively, shaping your emotions with intention. You stop waiting for happiness to arrive, and you start creating it with your mindset. You stop being a passenger in your own life, and you start being the driver. That is the power of positive thinking. There comes a moment in every life when you must decide who you are going to be. Will you live in fear, or will you live in faith? Will you allow negativity to control your destiny, or will you rise with the power of positivity? The choice is yours, and it is the most important choice you will ever make, because your life will always move in the direction of your dominant thoughts. Think negatively, and you will live small, defeated, and unfulfilled. Think positively, and you will live bold, courageous, and unstoppable. You see, positivity is not just about feeling good, it's about becoming unstoppable. It's about building a mindset that refuses to break, a spirit that refuses to quit, and a vision that refuses to die. Positive thinking is the foundation of every great achievement. It is the force that turns dreams into reality, pain into purpose, and ordinary people into legends. Every time you choose positivity, you add fuel to the fire of your destiny. Every time you choose positivity, you rise above the limitations that try to hold you back. Every time you choose positivity, you step into the life you were meant to live. Don't underestimate the power of one single positive thought. One thought can change the course of your day. One thought can shift the direction of your future. One thought can give you the courage to take action that transforms your entire life. History is filled with men and women who decided to think differently, to believe differently, to rise above the noise of doubt. And because they did, the world remembers their names. What if you are one thought away from changing your life forever? Let me ask you something. What's holding you back right now? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the voice in your head telling you you're not good enough? That voice is a liar. That voice is not your truth. Your truth is that you are capable. Your truth is that you are resilient. Your truth is that you are worthy of greatness. But you will never experience that greatness until you drown out the voice of negativity with the roar of positivity. You must believe in yourself even when no one else does. You must choose hope even when the situation looks hopeless. You must see victory even when the battle feels overwhelming. Positive thinking does not mean life will be easy, but it means you will be stronger than whatever comes your way. It means you will walk into every storm knowing you can endure, knowing you can grow, knowing you can rise. It means you Think positively and live the life you were destined for.